Let me share with you a story that touches on the essence of resilience, a story of finding strength amid struggle. This is the tale of a young man named Arun. Arun was from a small, quiet village nestled between vast mountains and rivers. He was hard-working and thoughtful, carrying dreams as wide as the sky. But Arun's life was anything but easy. Each day he rose before dawn, working tirelessly in the fields to support his aging parents and siblings. It seemed no matter how much effort he put in, his life remained a cycle of unending toil. And so, doubt began to creep in. With every setback, the burden on his heart grew heavier. Why, he would wonder to himself, does life have to be so difficult? If I work hard and do my best, why do I feel like I'm failing? One evening, exhausted from another grueling day, Arun sat by the riverbank, watching the sun dip below the mountains. The once soothing flow of the river now felt like a reminder of his stagnation. No answers seemed to come to him in his silent reflections, only more questions. In his despair, he remembered the tales he'd heard of a wise teacher named Buddha, who was said to have answers to life's deepest struggles. Arun decided that night that he would find Buddha. Perhaps this teacher could help him understand why his life was filled with so much hardship. The next morning, Arun set out on his journey. He didn't know exactly where to find Buddha, only that the teacher often traveled through villages sharing wisdom. Arun walked through forests, climbed steep hills, and crossed rivers, each step taken with the weight of his doubts, yet driven by a glimmer of hope. Days passed, but finally Arun's efforts were rewarded. He found himself in a clearing where Buddha was seated under the shade of a large ancient tree, speaking softly to a small group gathered around him. The peacefulness of the scene was magnetic. It felt as though even the trees and birds were listening to Buddha's words. As the group dispersed, Arun approached Buddha, who looked at him with a warm, understanding gaze that seemed to invite his story. Arun bowed respectfully and then poured his heart out, his words tumbling over one another. "Master," he began, "I work hard every day, and yet my life feels like a constant struggle. I feel as though I'm walking in circles, never truly moving forward. Why does life have to be this hard when all I want is peace?" Buddha listened patiently, then placed a hand on Arun's shoulder, saying, "Come, sit with me." Arun sat, feeling a strange calm wash over him. Buddha pointed to a massive tree nearby, its branches spreading wide and roots buried deep within the earth. "Do you see that tree?" Buddha asked. Arun nodded, observing its strength, its stability. "This tree did not become strong by avoiding the wind," Buddha continued. "It grew strong because it learned to stand firm against the winds. Each time the wind pushed, the tree dug its roots deeper into the earth to stay grounded." Arun looked back at the tree as Buddha's words settled within him. "Your life's challenges," Buddha explained, "are like the wind pushing against you. They are not here to defeat you, but to help you grow stronger roots. Each time you face a difficulty, it's an opportunity to grow, to deepen your resilience." For a moment, Arun was silent, taking in the wisdom of these words. He hadn't thought of his struggles in this way before. To him, they had only been barriers, forces holding him back. But now, he began to see them as something more, a necessary part of his journey to become strong and grounded just like the tree. Still, a part of Arun hesitated. He understood the lesson, but he wasn't yet convinced. "But Master," he said quietly, "sometimes I feel so overwhelmed by my struggles. How can I be sure that I'll find the strength within to keep going?" Buddha looked at him, his eyes soft and filled with understanding. "Arun," he began, "it is natural to feel overwhelmed. Strength does not mean you will never feel weak. It means you will learn to stand firm, even when you do. Just as the tree stands tall against the wind, it is not because it is never shaken, but because it has learned to weather each storm." Arun listened, beginning to feel a shift within. For the first time, he saw that his challenges might not be pointless. Each one was shaping him, grounding him. His struggles were teaching him to be steadfast. "Master," Arun said finally, a hint of peace in his voice, "I think I understand. I will try to see my struggles differently, not as enemies but as teachers. Buddha smiled, nodding. Good. Remember, Arun, resilience is not about never facing hardship. It is about allowing hardship to strengthen you. With each challenge, you grow roots that can withstand even the fiercest storms. Arun sat quietly, contemplating Buddha's words about resilience and how the wind strengthens the roots of a tree. The idea was comforting, but doubt still tugged at his heart. After all, what if his hardships continued and he never saw the fruits of his labor? He couldn't shake the feeling that his struggles might be in vain. Buddha sensed this uncertainty and reached down, picking up a small seed from the ground. He placed it gently in Arun's hand. "Look at this seed," he said, his voice soft yet powerful. "It holds the potential to grow into a tall, mighty tree. But before it can grow, it must first be buried in the dark soil, hidden away from light, warmth, and all that it might seek. It must struggle through the earth before it can reach the sun and realize its purpose." Arun looked down at the small seed in his hand, turning it over thoughtfully as Buddha continued. "You see, Arun, the darkness is not the end, it's the beginning. Sometimes in life you must endure the unseen growth, the struggles that make you question everything. But remember, just like the seed, your hardships are preparing you. They are building the foundation for the strength you need to grow." Arun felt a shift within. He saw his struggles in a new light. Perhaps they weren't blocks on his path, but steps leading him forward, preparing him for growth he couldn't yet see. He held onto the seed tightly, feeling a spark of hope grow within him. "But Master," he asked, "how can I know if I am strong enough to keep going in the dark, to push through even when I cannot see the light?" Buddha smiled gently. "It is not about knowing that you are strong enough. It is about trusting that each challenge is giving you the strength you need. Just as the seed does not know the full extent of its potential until it breaks through the soil, you too will realize your strength as you continue. Faith in yourself will be your light when everything else seems dark." Arun's doubts softened. For the first time, he felt an acceptance of his journey, a sense that perhaps his hardships were indeed part of his unfolding. Despite the peace that Buddha's words brought, Arun still feared what lay ahead. The world was full of uncertainty, and he didn't know if he could endure future hardships. Sensing Arun's concern, Buddha gestured toward a river flowing nearby. The water moved over rocks, around branches, and through narrow bends, finding its way down the mountainside. "Life," Buddha began, "is much like this river. As it flows, it encounters obstacles, rocks, branches, twists in its path. But does it stop and turn back? It flows over, around, and through whatever is in its way. The river does not resist. It adapts, always moving forward, always finding a new path." Arun watched the river, mesmerized by its graceful, unyielding flow. He began to understand. "So you mean, Master, that I, too, must learn to flow like the river, to adapt to whatever life places in my path?" Buddha nodded. "Yes, Arun. Just like the river, you have the strength within you to keep moving forward. You may need to change your direction or adjust your approach, but every obstacle shapes your path, teaching you to grow through flexibility. Resilience isn't just standing firm, it's learning when to bend and adapt to life's challenges." Arun felt lighter, realizing he could face future challenges not with resistance, but with openness. The river's journey mirrored his own, a continuous flowing path shaped by everything it encountered. Arun's heart now held a newfound sense of hope and understanding, but he couldn't ignore the impatience simmering beneath. He wanted to grow, to reach his dreams, but his progress felt painstakingly slow. Sensing this, Buddha shared one last story. "There is a certain type of bamboo tree," Buddha began, "that takes years before you see any growth above the soil. In its first year, nothing appears, nor in the second or third. Even in the fourth year, there is no sign of change. Many would think the seed was dead. But in the fifth year, this tree suddenly shoots up, growing over 80 feet in just a few weeks. Those years of seeming stillness weren't wasted. The bamboo was growing roots deep enough to support its height. Arun listened, captivated by the story of the bamboo. He saw his journey reflected in the tree's slow, unseen growth. He realized that each moment of struggle, each setback, was preparing him for the strength he would one day need. "So, Master," Arun said with newfound clarity, "I must be patient, knowing that each hardship is laying the foundation for my future growth." Buddha smiled warmly, nodding. "Yes, Arun. Just as the bamboo needed time to build strong roots, you too are preparing for a future that you cannot yet see. Patience is a form of resilience. Trust in the process, and when the time is right, you will see the fruits of your efforts." At that moment, Arun felt a deep peace settle within him. He saw his struggles not as delays but as necessary steps in a greater journey, one that would allow him to grow beyond his current self. Arun's heart was now filled with gratitude for each lesson, but Buddha had one final teaching to share. He gestured to a lotus flower blooming in a muddy pond nearby, its delicate petals reaching toward the light, untouched by the dirt from which it had grown. "Look at this lotus," Buddha said softly. "It rises from the mud, reaching through dark waters, yet remains unstained. It blossoms into beauty, pure and free from the mud below." Arun gazed at the flower, his mind opening to the depth of Buddha's words. Buddha continued, "Your struggles, Arun, are like this mud. They nourish you, giving you the strength to rise above. The mud does not define the lotus, but it is an essential part of its growth. In the same way, your hardships are not your identity. They are simply the soil from which you bloom." Tears filled Arun's eyes as he looked at the lotus, feeling a wave of peace and gratitude wash over him. He saw the beauty in his journey, the way each hardship had pushed him closer to his blossoming. "Thank you, Master," he said softly, his voice trembling with emotion. "I understand now. My struggles are not my enemy, but my teacher. They are the path that leads me to my strength." Buddha placed a comforting hand on Arun's shoulder. "Remember, Arun, true strength is not in avoiding hardship, but in rising above it. Like the lotus, you too will bloom in your own time, untouched by the mud from which you grew." At that moment, Arun felt a sense of liberation. His heart was light, his doubts washed away, replaced by a deep acceptance of his journey. As Arun sat with Buddha, a calmness he had never known settled within him. Each story, each lesson, felt like a key unlocking a part of his heart that had been weighed down by doubts and fears. He realized that his journey was not just about enduring hardships, but finding meaning in them and transforming his view of struggle. In this newfound peace, Arun saw himself as the tree that grows strong against the wind, the seed pushing upward from the soil, and the lotus blooming untainted from the mud. He saw that his trials were not blocks on his path, but steps leading him to a strength and beauty he had not known before. "Master," Arun finally said, his voice steady, "I think I understand now. Life's hardships are not the end, they are the way. They are guiding me to become stronger, more compassionate, more resilient." "Yes, Arun," Buddha replied, a gentle smile on his face. "Each moment of struggle, each moment of doubt has brought you here. It has prepared you to see your strength and to embrace the journey with a heart open to life's lessons. Remember, true resilience is not a shield that deflects all suffering. It is the ability to grow from each experience, to let each storm shape you without hardening your heart." In this moment, Arun felt a profound sense of gratitude, not only for Buddha's words, but for every hardship, every moment of doubt, and every tear. He saw that his journey was one of self-discovery, of finding beauty and purpose even in the struggles he once despised. And in his heart he felt ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that each challenge was guiding him toward his true self. After a time of silent reflection, Arun knew it was time to leave. He had come to Buddha with a heart burdened by struggles, and he was leaving with a heart filled with understanding and peace. The road home stretched before him, but this time it felt different, not as a place of endless toil, but as the path he was meant to walk. Before he departed, Buddha placed a gentle hand on Arun's shoulder and spoke one last time. "Remember, Arun," he said, "life's challenges will continue, but they are there to shape you, not to defeat you. Trust in your strength. Trust in the roots you have grown, and let each experience guide you toward wisdom and compassion. Arun bowed deeply, his heart brimming with gratitude. He looked at the world with new eyes, seeing every stone, every twist in his path as a part of his growth. And so, Arun returned to his village, carrying with him the wisdom he had sought. Each day still brought challenges, but now he faced them with resilience, patience, and gratitude. He knew that each hardship was part of his journey, shaping him like the wind shapes the tree, like the mud nourishes the lotus, and like the river carves its path. And as you listen to this story, remember, your journey is like Arun's. Every struggle you face is part of your path, teaching you to grow, to adapt, and to find beauty even in the hardest moments. Trust in your strength and never give up, for you are capable of weathering every storm. As Arun began his journey home, each step felt lighter, as if the weight he once carried had dissolved. He no longer saw his path as merely a series of tasks or endless challenges, but as an opportunity for growth. Every tree, every bend in the road, and even the river he crossed reminded him of Buddha's teachings. Arun knew that real strength lay not just in knowing wisdom, but in living it. As he returned to his village, he resolved to put Buddha's words into practice every day, to let each struggle shape him into someone stronger, someone resilient, someone compassionate. Arun's journey home wasn't without challenges. Along the way, he encountered moments that tested his patience and his newfound sense of peace. There were steep hills, sudden rains, and long stretches of solitude, but each time doubt surfaced, he thought of Buddha's words, about the tree growing against the wind, about the river adapting to obstacles, about the lotus blooming unstained from the mud. Each hardship became a reminder of his growth. When Arun felt weary, he recalled the bamboo's patience, the years of unseen growth that would one day support its towering strength. He began embracing every difficulty as another layer in his journey, a new root deepening his resilience. When Arun returned to his village, life had not changed around him, but he had changed within. His days remained filled with work, tending to his fields, caring for his family, and facing the same challenges. But now he faced each day with a heart grounded in resilience and patience. One day, a fellow villager noticed Arun's calm and asked, "Arun, how do you stay so at peace even when the days are difficult?" Arun smiled, remembering Buddha's teachings. "Life's challenges are like winds that make our roots stronger," he replied. "Each struggle isn't a setback, but a chance to grow. The more we embrace it, the more we find our strength." Arun's words resonated with those around him, and soon others came to seek his advice, drawn by his peaceful presence. Each time, Arun shared the wisdom he had learned from Buddha. Slowly, his village began to feel like a place not of hardship, but of growth and community resilience. People faced their challenges with renewed hope, their hearts anchored by the lessons Arun had brought back. As the years passed, Arun continued to embody Buddha's teachings. He learned that resilience was a skill and a way of living. Challenges came and went, but his heart remained steady, like the roots of the tree, nourished by every moment of adversity. In each hardship, he saw an opportunity to deepen his compassion, grow more patient, and find strength in his journey. And as he grew older, he shared these lessons with the younger generations, passing down Buddha's wisdom like seeds that would one day grow into strong, resilient trees. And so, this story of Arun is a reminder to all of us. Life's path may be difficult, and hardships may come in waves, but each challenge carries within it the seeds of growth, strength, and wisdom. Like Arun, we are all capable of finding peace within and blooming unstained in the face of adversity. Let your roots grow strong, let your spirit adapt, and never forget, the path you walk with all its ups and downs is leading you toward the strength within. If this story brought you peace or inspiration, consider subscribing and joining us for more stories of wisdom and resilience. And remember, just like Arun, you too are stronger than any challenge you face. Embrace each step of your journey and know you have the strength to keep going.